Hello and welcome to Qatar 365 with me, Miranda Ratti. On this special episode of the show, coming to you from Qatar's cultural village, Qatar, we're bringing you some more of our favourite stories from this year.
We got a taste of the local farming industry, met some of Doha's biggest female game changers, whether in sports or food, and found out how a country like Qatar can keep its culture and traditions alive.
Qatar has ambitious food self-sufficiency targets for 2023, keeping in line with its 2030 national vision. And over the past 12 months, we discovered some of the farms helping the country achieve its goal, from honeybees to hydroponics.
There are thousands of bees here at Umgan Farm. Beekeeper Arafat Hussein has been working with honeybees since he was a boy. He's so experienced, he doesn't even use gloves.
I may be one of the first people to produce pollen in Qatar, royal jelly, propolis and propolis products. Bees teach you work, they teach you sacrifice, and they teach you sincerity in work. Bees are beautiful insects, and my love for bees is great.
He's showing me what's known as a cell. Each one contains hundreds of worker bees and one queen. Local farms all across Qatar have recently ramped up their production of honey. But with no real winter, 8 months of summer and only 4 months of spring, Qatar has a relatively difficult climate for growing crops. That's why some farms are turning to more unique methods to create a sustainable growing environment.
When aquaculture meets hydroponics, you get what is known as aquaponics. Bacteria helps break down the excretions from the fish in these tanks. This is then used to fertilize these plants, which take up extra nitrogen, putting purified water back into the tanks.
And now, for the very first time, this concept is in a grocery store in Qatar to implement vertical farming with LED lighting. The technology is capable of growing leafy plants, including herbs, as well as fruits like melons and tomatoes. It's not the only way farms are thinking outside the box. Others are attracting tourists and local visitors with their holistic approach. This is Hinat Salma, a place designed to disconnect from busy schedules and reconnect with a more simplistic existence. In the pedagogical garden that promotes permaculture, growing self-sufficiently and sustainably, we learn about how the workshops here are formulated to enhance mental focus.
People harvest their own food, so we are bringing more consciousness to our food growth. We connect with the elements, with the beauty also. So when we are outside, we are fully present. Our sense, the smell, when we touch the natural material, it brings us to our nature.
Whether by attracting visitors to learn about sustainable living, distributing locally made honey, or utilizing innovative farming methods, it's clear that this country is taking many steps to become food self-sufficient.
We also met some amazing Qatari women at the top of their respective fields in 2022. From chefs to pilots, let's revisit a few of the most awe-inspiring.
Nestled in the heart of Souq Waqif, one of Qatar's traditional markets, is a busy local eatery run by a small woman with a big dream.
In 2004, I called Souq Waqif and said, I'm Shamuz, and I sell spices. They said, come, we're looking all over for you.
Shams Al-Kasabi is the mother of 5 and is the first woman to run a business in the souk.
For 2 months, no one knew about Shai Shamuz. I worked hard, day and night. I invented and enhanced some traditional Qatari recipes. I only use my ancestors' recipes, and I only cook food that is connected to our heritage.
Cooking, skeet shooting, rowing. We caught up with many trailblazing women this year. Reem Al-Shashani started skeet shooting when she was just 15. Now in her 20s, she's a World Cup bronze medalist. Reem is part of the Qatar national team with big goals for the future.
There you go. Please don't throw away my gun. It's a very precious thing to me. It's not a thing. It is my baby. It is not heavy. All right. Perfect. And then your cheek. Ready. I want to be in the Olympics, to be qualifying in the Olympics, to get the gold medal, to be very proud of myself for choosing this sport, and to make my family proud, my country.
Reem Al-Khuthari set her mind to the friendly skies. She's the first Qatari woman to pilot a microlight plane.
This year is my 10th year, actually, since I started with flying. 10 years back, I did my first solo on this kind of aircraft, and actually it was here in Qatar. But then I decided to get the international license, so I traveled to the UK, and I arranged with one of the best schools to get the license in 4 weeks. It was an intensive course, so it was really hard. There's no one else to ask, because no one in Qatar did it before, so it was quite hard, but I enjoyed all the process.
Reem has also tried flying a microlight with a ski in the mountains, taking off from around 8,000 feet high. She says these kinds of experiences are perfect for those who want to feel the calm of the skies, but also for those who prefer an adrenaline rush.
Whenever I walk on the ground, I always keep looking up, and I wish I'm there to see the view from above. What I love really about this air sports in particular, it really connects you to the world, because you know many people all over the world, and they start to know about you and your culture, and you know it's like we get to know each other.
Water sports are common in Qatar, and that's a good thing for Tala Abu Jbara, who loves to be on the water. She was the first Qatari woman to compete in rowing at the 2020 Olympics in Japan, placing highly in the women's single sculls.
Find those people who support you and have your back, and hold on to them very tightly, because it's a tough journey. There are lots of ups and downs, and these are the people who will be there to pick you up when you fall. If there's anyone out there who happens to be listening to this and they don't feel like they have that person in their lives just yet, you can think of me. I'm here, Tala, in a small corner of the world in Qatar, and I'm here and I'm, rooting for you and hope you can achieve whatever you set your mind to.
This year we learned all about Qatar's role as a cultural hub in the region. There are lots of modern museums and public artworks, but there's also a focus on keeping traditional heritage alive. Let's take a look.
From the moment you arrive in Doha, there's art to be seen. Public art pieces in classic locations like the National Museum bring the country's history to life.
So I think for Qatar and art, I think it's a great way to encourage dialogue. It's a great way to activate different parts of the city and activate areas of the city that might not necessarily have arts in, where you bring that in and allow people to kind of engage with that easily.
Whether at the metro, a public roundabout, or in the middle of the desert, public artworks truly are a part of everyday life here. Something that was also a big part of everyday life in Qatar was the country's famous pearling boats, known as dhows. During the 19th century, pearl diving was big business in Qatar. In fact, up until the 1940s, the pearl trade accounted for a major share of the country's economy, employing nearly 50% of the population. Today, many fishermen still practice long-established customs. Former pearl seller Ibrahim Abdullah has agreed to meet me aboard a dhow to explain how the pearls are separated, sorted, and ultimately priced.
The pearl seller separates the pearls and collects them, and separates them into big and small ones, and checks if they're all in good shape. He picks it up like this to check for scratches. Our eyes cannot see these scratches. Take a look.
Oh wow, it's huge, yeah, I can see.
We use this tool to sift, to help identify the big and small ones. So we put them in and sift through them. The small ones fall and the big ones stay.
Pearl diving is no longer a primary source of income, but it's clear the ocean, fishing, and of course the dhow boats themselves still hold a special place in the culture of Qatar. Al Zubarah is Qatar's largest archaeological plot and the first Qatari site inscribed into the UNESCO World Heritage List. One of the best preserved examples of a traditional pearl fishing town, Al Zubarah attracts many visitors eager to experience the history of this coastal region. Dr. Farhan Circle and his colleagues are mapping the location for new visitor trails.
Archaeology is the tool to understand people who were used to live in Qatar and understand how they were living, what they were eating, what was the purpose, why they were in this area, and how they were connected within the Gulf and also beyond Gulf.
The town had been the regional center of the pearl trade, but it was ultimately abandoned in the 20th century, before becoming what it is today, a vital archaeological record of a lost era. From modern public artworks to historical dhows and ancient forts, there are still plenty of opportunities to experience Qatar's culture.
Looking back on these unique stories, we've learned so much about so many different topics. And that is all we have time for on this episode. But as always, if you have any questions, just reach out via our hashtag Qatar365. Thanks for watching. Do check out Euronews.com for more. And join us again next time on Qatar365.